And what's the for the PS5? What's the highest quality you could stream it at? Because I'm hoping it's actually above the shitty 720p it has. Anyways,
no, actually,
I guess since we were just talking about it, I actually fucking love the whole idea behind that final fight.
Yeah.
Swapping between 3 different teams. Where they're all actually kind of supporting each other as they're doing it.
Yeah, actually being able to swap between them, unlike the first game where it's just, oh, you play one, play the next, play the next.
You mean the second game?
I'm pretty sure that was in the first as well.
No, the first game did not have that. First game, everyone was fighting against Los Ceremonious. Second game, against the Crimson Calamity, you had 2 separate teams. And then the third game, you had 2 as well when you fought the dragon.
And then this game, you have 3 against Osborne and that.
Yeah, the other one was one after the other, but against what do we call it? Should we just call it the Subterranean of Steel? Because technically that's what it was. I mean, it gained the power of it.
In this game?
Yeah.
It was Ishmelga.
Holy shit.
In this game, that boss was Ishmelga.
It was Mishmelga that had absorbed.
It was literally just called Ishmelga. With some, like,
to be fair, I couldn't remember his name exactly.
It was literally just Ishmelga.
I was saying, did any of you guys feel any kind of pity at the very end when Reen finally took it out once and for all?
Not really.
I felt, I mean, maybe it's just my soft-ass self, but I felt the slightest bit of pity. Like, you pitiful creature.
No.
Like, not, like, it was more of a disdained kind of pity, if anything, but he just wanted to do his best. And why is this pan so fucking hot?
Because you're just cooking.
No, I mean it's burning down the wine way too fucking quickly.
So
be no sauce at this point.
The final accessory from getting the top Unity rating is insane.
All of them are insane. I actually like Crow's the best because I mean I always gear out Reen first, and Crow's absolutely amazing.
Crows.
I can't remember exactly what it was. I just remember seeing it. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is as good as Laura's.
You mean the special accessory you get from him for Max Bond?
For Max Bond during the.
Fees is better. I'm just gonna say it. Fees is better.
I can't remember what both of them do. I mean, I don't think I've saw Fees.
Crow increased crit rate, if I'm remembering correctly, and accuracy.
Yeah, because I was building Reen to just be an absolute monster, and Reen doing just an absolute ludicrous amount of damage with it.
Fees boosted speed, accuracy, and evasion.
I mean, I would have given that. I probably would have actually.
It was a very, very good boost too.
I thought Crows gave evasion boost as well.
No, he did not.
Well, I mean, I would have given that to Kurt anyways because Kurt is the ultimate. Can't touch the. Well, yeah, that's right.
You just can't.
I know,
those are Reno.
To be fair though, I think my Kurt had probably about 90% evasion rate at the end.
I was never able to get Kurt that high.
Usually they like it was like that or 80 something. Because he just dodges and it's just like super crit and just absolutely eviscerated whatever it decided to attack him.
I actually had Fee at like 80 at one point.
Ugh. God, I actually never really liked using Fee as much because like she it didn't seem like she really.
She's a badass.
I guess I could never really bring out her full potential because I just felt like that Kurt was just a better version of everything. He had the speed, Kurt. He had evasion, and he had the had super
Cody,
good crits.
You have Kurt, and he's great. You have Fee, She is Kurt on steroids.
I don't know.
She gains a whole lot more evasion naturally.
I mean,
she
and
can
also
get much higher, much easier, and she is insane in terms of her speed, especially because her Deva Quartz gives her speed.
yeah, but also I like Kurt's utility a lot better. Just the moves he brings to the table.
She gives a lot of good moves.
I mean, really, yeah.
Realistically, yes. In terms of this, nah, screw Current Fever.
Well, like I say, like how Laura is the ultimate frontliner. She has the greatest. She is made to take hits and dish out, take damage, deal even more damage back.
She's never been that kind of character whenever I've even tried to do
Alright, even our users like, Laura, get him! Fucking jumps up, slam! And then just beats the shit out of them. Laura and Reen frontrunners, because they just dealt so much fucking damage.
Reen and Fia, because they never got hit and they dished out a shit ton of damage with the Mars gems. What was the
But
accessory that I had?
alright, here's one of my questions I wanted to ask you guys once you beat it. Besides Reen, because it's still it's main character, it's obviously can probably be better than most. Who is your favorite S-Craft of, I guess, everyone? I mean, old class 7 really didn't get anything new, sadly.
Well, I will say right now, Yuna's is pathetic.
Yeah, I didn't like it too much.
Her new one. Her new one is lame as hell.
Yeah, and when you think at this moment, you realize that they spoiled all the new ones in the actual opening.
Kinda, yeah.
They 100% did. Fucking, you see Kurt doing the startup for his in the opening. Which, my answer is Kurt, because Kurt is absolutely fucking awesome looking.
I actually really like Altina's.
I wasn't a huge fan of it. She just gets sword and she just slashes with it, basically, or stabs with it. Kurt, you have the super cool white aura on his swords, where he slashes out and makes a goddamn black hole. Oh my god, and just the contrast, the way the white glows, it's just beautiful.
But Altina, she actually doubles her puppet thing. I can't remember what it's called right now. She doubles it, turns one into Arcadia, the other into the... Yeah, Clemslayer. She turns one into armor from the Arcadius one, she turns the other into the sword, and she cuts enemies, yeah, but then she also frickin' kicks the sword into the ground to rupture it from below and explode with energy under the enemies of her choice. That is just awesome.
I mean, if I had to give it a tier list for all the new class 7s, it would be Kurt, Ash, Muse, Altina, and Yuna. I liked Ash's. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Though it's really funny when you take a ginormous ass monster and do it against it, so he just kicks it a giant ass thing to the moon. that was great.
That's what I had on her.
Alright, time to sting myself.
Yeah, Toval gave an amazing accessory. ATS and ADF up 50, but time to cast arts cut by 33%.
Yeah. Toval. Ah, it stings! Lemon juice, why you hurt so?
Maybe I'll throw a Grail Lock on them.
Do you know what my favorite subplot through the whole thing was?
Through this game?
Yeah. The whole thing with, that one guy from the old class, from the old,
Alan?
Yeah, Alan.
Dumbass Alan.
Not dumbass Alan. Poor Alan, who was consumed by the curse, and
yes,
the loving girlfriend that just wants him to be safe. It really brought it helped show the effects of the curse and the effects it was having on everyone.
Alan was a real dumbass, though.
Well, like I said, he was just under the influence. But I just I think.
What, Brandon?
You know what, Brandon? Yeah, he was a fucking plot device. It was just show the effects of the curse. I heard I know. And like I've said before, Brandon, I am completely fine with it.
I actually kind of had to agree a little bit there because it would make it a whole lot better in terms of, oh, there was no curse in the whole time. We were just being shitbags and we were led astray. And now we're starting to realize what we did wrong.
To be fair, not everyone can have a fucking character development. And to be fair, with the amount of character development this series has handled, I will give them fucking praise for it.
But the thing to keep in mind with that curse thing is that a couple of the people who were affected by the curse, who are the enemies that we were fighting at the end there, they were actually fully aware of what they were doing. They were doing it willingly, and when we started to tell them how much of a piece of shit they were starting to realize it before the curse was removed from them. So they were actually still getting some character development. It just would have been stronger if the curse wasn't there. And Brandon cut out.
This is between you both. You just fucking fine.
Sure.
But no, like I would say, I mean, like people like I'll never fucking forgive. I still won't forgive Rufus. Do I pity him? A little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I don't
be fair, I do have a habit of. I have a habit of playing devil's advocate, but I also have a habit of really diving deep into what make characters tick. So,
if I pity
I can't
anyone,
help but relate to gain some sort of little relatability with them.
If I pity anyone, I would have to say it's Cedric. As much of a little shit as he is, kind of
as much of a little brainwashed little shit he was.
The pity is slight. But there's a little bit there.
Well, yeah, like, I pity the guy, like, he got taken on this ride completely against his will.
And initially, he was just wanting to fit in and everything.
He just wants to get strong so he can join his freaking idol, Rin Senpai.
And his best friend, Kurt. Though
He wasn't possessed, he was brainwashed by Alberic.
Except it was the curse. It was the curse.
To be fair, it was less of a more passive thing like Alan and more like Alberic actually purposely.
It was not Alberic. Alberic never interacted with him.
There was a whole cutscene. No, there was the whole cutscene of. There was the whole cutscene of him waking up in bed, and you see and you see Osborn there, and then they're talking about like he could be of use, and then Alberic shows up in his face of black. Alberic obviously did something to the guy.
Cody, I literally just watched that cutscene earlier. I can tell you exactly what it was, because what it was is it showed Cedric in bed, weakened from the events of the castle from the game, and he was feeling weak and helpless. Osborn was there, so he was wondering if Osborn could help, and then Black Albert came in, told Osborn he could be a good, why can't I even think of the word? A good...
whatever.
No.
Divine Knight.
No.
Wielder.
Asset, I guess, actually is the right word.
That or pawn,
yeah, a
no
good
like Albrecht.
asset. And then Osborn was the one who told him all about the Iron Bloods and everything, and asked him to become an Iron Blood, and he chose to become one on his own.
Yes, but...
And then the curse took over, affected him, brought his inner deepest, darkest, negative emotions out, and essentially forced him into the little shit that he was.
I'm saying that...
It was nothing to do with Albrecht. It was nothing to do with Albrecht.
No, I'm gonna say it definitely was. Albrecht was the heir. So the bastard definitely did something. The guy would do anything to achieve his goal. Honestly, I think it was probably some part of,
to George or Rufus
what's his
or
name?
Shirley or Claire
okay,
and
for
Lecter.
one, Albrecht is a arrogant little shit who thinks everything is going to go his way, and he was completely arrogant to the point that he got caught off guard multiple times. I was going to say, it could have been the part of Elisa's father that was still within him that maybe stopped. I don't know.
Your logic honestly doesn't really make all that much sense, because if you really think about it, if it was Albrecht and him being the mastermind behind everything, then
I mean, it was
why
Ishmael
the
behind
hell
everything.
wouldn't he have
Albrecht was just a
brainwashed
puppet.
every single person? If he really didn't want anything to fail, then brainwash every single person he's trying to get under his wing or under his control.
Because he was
so that
so
nothing
arrogant,
does
he thought
go
nothing.
wrong with him.
Because he was so arrogant, he thought nothing will happen regardless.
He should do.
He's a villain who needs character development for a fucking figurehead.
But if he was really that sure that everything would work out perfectly fine, he should have brainwashed everyone to ensure that it would.
Well, like I say,
and if he was smart, he would have. If he was behind everything, he would have. But he didn't.
And that I feel like is the crux of why I think he didn't. Albrecht itself is a puppet. I honestly think that the entity known as Albrecht is put onto, well, I guess, just to put it really loosely, really smart people to make use of their intellect.
Except that's not the case. We actually get specific confirmation that it's only onto descendants of the gnomes. So it had to be Franz Reinfeld specifically, because he was the descendant of the original Black Albrecht.
To be fair,
it wasn't just that he was smart, he was the descendant of the guy himself.
Aren't all the gnomes, like, really smart, though? Do you think it's some sort of, like, genetic thing?
I mean, technically Elisa's a gnome, she's not all that smart.
Well, I mean, I will agree for the most part. To be fair, though, she does run a pretty big company basically by herself at that age, and I think that's actually
Except she's not the one running it.
I'll say this. She has high intellect, low wisdom. To just throw in the old D&D meme into it.
Sophia there.
You can have a... High intelligence means you know how to solve math, but high wisdom means you know what... you know, I guess
what
right and wrong is the best way. Yeah. Intellect knows what 2 plus 2 equals. Wisdom tells you why that equals that. I mean, once again, I'm gonna say I understand to an extent of why they did that.
But we do get a lot of those characters saying oh, we never wanted the world to end anyway. We just came along for this reason or that reason. They gave a different reason.
Is Claire? Oh. To be fair, Schmidt never was on their side in the beginning.
Arena had that. Arena had that.
Yeah, they're more like I guess they're kind of playing the inside spiral, kind of.
Shirley also
loosely.
had that.
But like for Claire, this is the man who saved her from her deepest despair. It's the person who saved her from despair. It's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing.
Arena had.
And I'm not gonna explain these to you, Brent, because I know you're not gonna get it. Because I'm not getting into this.
But at the same time, you gotta take into account that they were Ironbloods before that,
and how Osborn saved her from the deepest despair that she was under. Of course, she's gonna look up to him to almost a fervent degree.
Yeah, Osborn was kind of like an idol to her. He was the one who saved her. He was also her boss.
The entire time, anyway, she was always wavering.
She never was. Yeah, she was always wanting to get out of there. She just never could.
It's like she doesn't know. It's like you have. It's like, okay, Brandon, I'm gonna say this.
Osborn was under.
Brandon, no. She was never under the effects of the curse. Damn it, she used.
Yeah, she never had the curse.
She drew power from it because of those magic circle things, but no.
She drew power because of the Ironbloods linked to the Empyrean fortress.
Yeah,
but she herself was never under the curse effect like Cedric was.
Like if you have two
Lecter
waifus
and Claire.
If you have, well,
they were.
If you have two waifus you like both equally, would you be able to choose one over the other? Exactly, that's the point. She was wavering. She was wavering between Osborn, the man who practically, I guess, raised her from a teenager, and saved her from dark ass fate, and then Reen, a person she met 4 years ago.
Well, no, Osborn is
fair,
Osborn.
Osborn was Osborn. Osborn was Osborn. He had Osborn. No, he's not Ishmelga.
No, Brandon, he is not Ishmelga. Ishmelga is the Ebon Knight. Osborn is Osborn. Osborn is the reincarnation of Emperor Dracos. Ishmelga is the Ebon Knight, the Divine Knight that he pilots.
Yeah, Osborn was able to
retain... under Ishmelga's power,
well,
Ishmelga's influence.
Yeah, but he was still able to retain all sense of himself.
They specifically stated a bunch of different times throughout the end of the game, which I literally just went through, so I know this for a fact, that it was Osborn still in control of himself.
Yeah, because...
That Ishmelga never had control.
He had control to an extent, but he left Osborn with...
No. Ishmelga never had control. They specifically said that Osborn was always in control of himself because of his iron will.
Yes, but he was still... So he kept his personality, his iron will, his charisma, but he was still partially forced to go along with all of Ishmelga's designs because of the pact they made to save Reen's life as a kid.
Yes, he was being influenced by, but he was still himself.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why in the third game he mentioned that in the scene where he mentioned he hopes that the children can stop him. When he was talking with the king. You know what, Brandon? Just look at it like the MCU or like a fucking Marvel universe or something.
Admittedly, a lot of the plot was actually a little convoluted.
I mean, there are some points. I'm gonna say this.
A lot of points.
Yeah, but all the other points vastly overshadow it, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say vastly, but... Well, that was actually the curse.
Yeah. You know, don't explain curse to Brandon. It fucking triggers him. I know, because that would just make Osborn evil for the sake of being evil, and I fucking hate that. It's my least kind of favorite villain type. Why the fuck? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just think about this. To be fair, that's how it started out with him. You know, like. To be fair, I consider this. The curse is not a curse. It's. I see it as a manifestation of Ishmelga's will. He only had it.
In itself was a curse.
Well, I see it's an influence. It's like what he did if Osborn went on a greater scale and they just didn't have his iron will.
Also, just a little side tangent. I'm currently trying to build Kurt to be highly evasive.
Yeah.
It's not working out.
I mean, I'd have to reinstall the game and see what I actually had equipped to let you know. But guys, for now, let's get rid of. Let's actually talk about things we liked, please. To be fair, it's more like to be fair, it's more like 9. But let's. Yeah, and like I've said before, I agree to the point that they should at least added a little, like, this is what happened in Sky and Crossbill series thing in the 4th game, to at least catch people up, let people know what's going on, because I mean, this is a series that's been running for over 16 years. Give people a little bit of insight, please. Because more people. Yeah, and like I said before, Brandon, you should have. I recommended you at least look up at least something, or at least let me. Like, if you wanted to know, I would tell you. We'll give you a quick. No, because at least because in this game they had the source material in the previous stuff. In Destiny, it's just we're just gonna insert this shit here, and if you find it, there you go.
That was the big issue with Destiny, is that they were deliberately going, hey, this is some big stuff important to the story, we're going to put it somewhere else that's not the game at all, or anything prior, because this is the first game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the equivalent of you started the sequel series, I guess, of like an anthology, or I don't know. Like I said, I do agree that they should have implemented that in the game, or at least gave us a little bit of a rundown of what happened with these characters.
It would have been really nice to have, like, this is what happened before. But, to be fair, even after I looked into it, because I went on a big old binge after the first game, and I think during the second game, where I just tried to find out as much as I could about the prior games as possible.
It was after the second
one.
Even
with what I found out from the video as I watched, I'm still a little lost on some of the things that were actually happening.
Well, yeah, it's a whole thing of the time for our brains to actually absorb it. If we would have actually played the games, like it would have definitely been a hell of a lot more impactful.
I would. If I had been playing them from the beginning, I would agree.
Yeah, even if I just like binge played through all of them before the third game, the third Cold Steel game, I would have probably got more out of it.
It's just a little hard to really.
Yeah, it's
advocate for just find the information.
Yeah, it's like when people start the MCU at frickin' Endgame or not Infinity War.
I would say Endgame is a better idea there.
No, Endgame is the final bit. It'd be Infinity War.
Exactly, that's why.
No, Infinity War, because you have, like...
No one ever watched any of the other Avengers movies and just started with Endgame, and they're just like, I have no idea what's going on.
I'd say Infinity War, because, like, then, like, the emotion you feel from all the characters dying and that, you wouldn't have nearly as much emotion, because you wouldn't know them.
That's kind of the point I'm getting at if you start with Endgame, is...
No, because Infinity War, half the people die, and Endgame, only one person died.
But... they do start off Endgame with everybody grieving and hunting down Thanos, trying to get revenge and everything. And yeah, if you're really wanting to do an analogy of, oh, someone getting into a series but not knowing anything about what happened before it, that's a much better point to enter into for that kind of analogy.
No, I say Infinity War because you have...
it's a much better point to get into because everything's already happened. They're dealing with the aftermath. You have no idea what the aftermath is even following.
Let me give you the reason why I say Endgame, or Infinity War. Infinity War was the first movie to really combine all the different things together. Endgame, everything's already been combined together, and it's just the fall-off point of that and the ending.
That's why it makes it even better for the analogy, Cody.
Trials 4 is Infinity War and Endgame in one bundle, basically. You have all of everything. If you have everything coming together and then everything ending. Yes, please.
Yeah, it definitely was great.
I know. I even did all of our bonding events.
I should have.
There's some nice moments.
Speaking of Jubilee, something I wish I did, when you're able to explore on 9-1, you're able to go to the Lake Elm Wetlands, and you're able to get this little event with the Gralsritter and the Zephyr and Blue Blanc, and they show that, oh, they've set up the Lance and Leanne's helmet as like a little memorial. I didn't have Jubilee with me for that. I wish I did.
Because what kind of things I feel like they should have required you to bring Jubilee?
Well, the way that they have everything set up during that final day, it's clearly open for everyone to, like, go find the people who are related to the character they chose as their romance partner and see a little sub-event with them. Because there was a little bit extra with Lino and Zeno in Nine Valley Exchange and Crossbell that I told Brandon about earlier, where, because I took Fee as my romance partner, best choice, by the way.
No, disagree.
Lino and Zeno asked if something happened the night prior, and Fee would start telling them about it, but Rain stops her and asks her quietly if they're going to tell them now, and they catch on immediately, and I think it was Zeno says, we're going to be spending a lot of time together soon.
Smile.
Yeah, they're smiling.
I know, they made a similar comment in the second game, and I love it.
Oh, every single moment that was a romance-specific moment with Fee was just fantastic. And you could find Arcade on the Courageous, you could find Arena in the RF building in Crossbell, you could find Roselia on the Courageous as well, you could find Yuna's parents at home, I believe.
I'm disappointed I didn't go. I don't think I saw anything like that with Laura, though, and I'm a little sad. To be fair, though, at that point in the time,
talk with Arcade?
not Arcade, with her father.
That's her father.
Yeah, Victor, Victor S. Arcade.
Viscount Victor Arcade.
Victor S. Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was so late. I kind of just like I'm pushing through. We're getting the shit done.
Because if you really took Laura as your romance partner, there should have been a little bit extra dialogue with Arcade if you talked to him.
I don't think I did.
In the bar,
sadly,
in the game room, on the Courageous.
I don't think I did. Sadly, honestly, my playthrough of 4 was. I am partially not proud of it.
Also,
I really went through it at a sprint, and I partially didn't want to.
Speaking of that, though, there was a moment where Arcade is the final Vantage Master's opponent, and he gives the Master Quartz called Woden, which is one of the black ones, and it is one of the best things I've ever seen in this game that is specifically meant for Rean. So you're saying it's like a betrothal gift then? You're saying like
that Laura is best girl because her father gives best Master Quartz.
No. No.
Shut up.
But,
he gave a quartz perfectly meant for Rean. What else could it mean?
But this Master Quartz is awesome because it has the exact same strength as Brigid, but everything else, literally everything else, is better in terms of the stats. And then it also has high HP increasing critical rate by 15%, auto health regen by 8% of max health per turn, and 6 points of craft points every single turn regained. All together on one quartz. That as a Master Quartz with Oberon preventing any abnormal status or stats down is an amazing setup for Rean. Rean was a monster throughout the entire end of the game with those two quartz.
I think I gave Rean Crow as a sub one because I wanted more damage.
Gungnir?
What? What, Brandon?
Also, I think you used the wrong word there, Brandon. Yeah. But,
I'm gonna snap you like a twig next time.
Cody, just to kind of go over that, Gungnir and Woden is still a better combination than Brigid and Gungnir.
Well, I gave him Gungnir.
Increases crit rate at high HP.
Well, I gave it a sub because I wanted the crit damage increase. I just wanted the crit damage increase.
So
I didn't have Modir. I'm just saying what I had instead of the gaining stat downs and shit.
Oberon is so good, though. Oberon is so good. You don't have to worry about putting anyone with an accessory to prevent stats or abnormalities if you have Oberon.
Well, yeah, our philosophies are completely different because I'm always just like, best offense, better defense. They can't kill me if they're dead first.
Probably why you had a hard time with Ness the Stout. She was a breeze. I bent her over and
if I would have started that fight out just slightly different, I wouldn't have had near much trouble. She just got me into a stupid stun loop. Stun loops and the slow ones. Yeah, we're not talking about Nosferatu from the first game. Sleep, nightmare, vanish, sleep, nightmare, vanish. Stop it!
I never had an issue with Nosferatu. Also, speaking of Nosferatu,
like I said, I rarely use magic. I rarely use magic until the third game. Like that's my biggest issue. That was my biggest problem playing through the first two games.
Because you spoke over. Speaking of Nosferatu, the reveal that they were the prior Awakeners for the Divine Knights. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that reveal.
Here's a question then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's unsettling, actually.
I wish
how many times that actually had to happen to lead to that many swords there.
So there's something I wish though. Like, I wish they would take it one step farther. Like have some of these these Nosferatu things be a little different, and then be like, oh, this Nosferatu is of the one guy who started the War of the Lions, the bad one.
Yeah, admittedly, that would have been pretty cool.
That would been like, this is like more of the past coming to the present kind of thing, of like, this is history staring you down right now. Like, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
And maybe having like that guy would have done like some moves that the Crimson Calamity could do and shit, because that was his Divine Knight.
Oh, you know what would have been the better way to handle that? Have there be the normal Nosferatus, because those became like a normal, regular enemy. But then there were always those special ones that were just like the bosses for certain quests. Have those be named, and those ones be a little different.
Mm-hmm. You know what my favorite cutscenes in that game was?
Rain getting his...
Yeah, no, that's my absolute favorite one. The whole thing of Rain becoming Divine Blade.
That was such a badass moment.
Oh, I know. To be fair, I failed it the first time because I was like, okay, I just gotta beat him, not do every single move in order.
Yeah, I immediately had that information from the guide I had up.
Yeah. Filthy spoiler.
It wasn't spoiling anything. I didn't know what this shit was talking about. I just knew
what to do.
All I knew is that whenever I got into this thing, I had to use the crafts. That's all I knew.
I didn't know that. I just found like you would normally do. It just says display your skills. Display your skills. I thought, I'm like, oh, okay, I have to overcome the darkness within my heart. All right, then I'll display my skills.
Well,
not literally word from word display your skills. I didn't think it'd be that fucking literal.
It's not our fault. You don't think logically.
That is not logically. That is just.
That is logical.
That is fucking Mr. Literal right there. Fucking Eagle Raptor, no, Mr. Literal.
Logical. In the actual version of their reality, they would not call those things crafts. They would call them skills. If you want to show your skills,
yeah,
not
show your skills.
Specifically,
show your skills. Test your might. That kind of thing.
Goody. If they said skill instead of skills, I would agree with you. But they specifically said skills with an S.
To be fair,
in the context,
I've heard other contexts of people say, "Show us your skills," as in, show us your might, show us your power, show us how strong you are.
I've never watched a scene of that kind of context where they say skills instead of skill. It has always been, show us your skill, show us your power, show us your might. But when they specifically have been asking the character in question to show them specific moves, they have always used skills, not skill.
I am under the impression that a person's combat is not just a single skill. There's, like, for Rean, there is his sword skills, his movement skills, his judgment skills. Like, I mean, I feel like this is because I've probably read a vast, wider range of material than you, so that's probably where my mind went. His dense protagonist, his womanizing ways of not realizing it, his skills of being one of the most relatable but also scariest big brothers in existence. Still my favorite season 3. That's still my favorite season.
I gotta admit, I did end up feeling a little bad because I did actually do both of the special bunny events with Elise. And I did actually hang out with her in Michelin Wonderland, and she asked Rean to go with her somewhere at the end of the night. And when I made the choice to go with Fee, he's like, I should cancel on Elise. I'm the worst, aren't I?
Yeah, he is.
Well, it felt a little bad, but at the same time...
Yeah, they gotta stop trying to shove her down my damn throat.
No. That's the wrong character you're talking about there. The character you should be talking about with that comment is Elisa.
Oh, Elise. Okay, yeah. Brandon, me and you are both. He said Elise, not Elisa. The sister, not the blonde hair.
Yeah, the sister.
To be fair, it's a trope. It's a trope, and I can understand at least for Elise, but Elisa, no, stop that right now.
Yeah, get Elisa out of here.
You no hold sway over me, woman.
What bothered me, I think, the most with how they've been forcing Elisa down our throats is that in the ending, when I was watching the normal ending and the true ending both, anytime anyone showed the most emotion, it was Elisa. And I'm like, what about Fee? This is the end of the game! Rain's about to die or disappear or some shit.
Yeah, I know.
Why isn't Fee reacting?
Yeah,
screw Elisa, bitch slapper, get out of the way.
Do you know what the thing that's gonna piss me off the most is? We're gonna go into the next game, and Elisa's gonna be the love interest. Or Lisa.
No, I feel like they're gonna have learned their lesson, especially with how close this game being on the PS4 and the next game being on the PS4 is.
I don't believe it. I can't believe it because they keep trying to shove you down your throats, and I don't know if they're going to give us the option because of the nature of the next game.
Between 1 and 2, they kept it intact you chose.
Those are all the trials. Those are all the Cold Steel games. This is going to be a completely new thing. Hajime no Kiseki.
As if they wouldn't do save data stuff on Trails.
Because
it's an epilogue to Trails.
Yeah, at the end, first of all, I fucking was furious at the epilogue of like, oh, it's just a fucking phone thing. It's not meeting up and like giving a hug or a little kiss or something. No, it's just a fucking phone thing. I wanted more!
Yeah, the fact that it was just a photo of Green and Fee on his desk and then Fee calling, it was stupid.
And just because it seems so in the fucking background, I will not be surprised if the next game comes around and they were like, oh, it was Elisa the entire time.
Also, I mentioned to Brandon earlier, but during the wedding photo stuff, they cut to a shot where it's Rain under a tree and it looks like there's someone in front of them. Both of us, Brandon and I both, thought that they were going to be like, oh hey, here's the romance option you chose. They're going to have a moment.
No, it's going to be super vague in the end because...
No, it turned out to be his students.
Well, I'm fine-ish with that.
Like, that would have been the perfect moment, though. Him under the tree, standing away from everybody. Have the love interest go over and join him.
I will say this: I was not expecting anything because those were all pre-drawn shit, and I highly doubt they would have.
As if they could have done a different version.
I highly doubt they would have, though. I just highly doubt they would have because we don't see that shit like at all anymore these days. Sadly.
Speaking of fighting game, though.
Okay, for one, I never got to fucking finish what I was saying.
I don't.
One of my favorite scenes.
Oh, that yeah.
The whole distraction bit in Crossbell with the dancing, the orchestra.
Yeah.
Fucking Venus showing up in the middle. I lost my shit.
I actually kind of remember when I was going through that. I actually remember thinking back to some movies that I remember watching. Can't remember what movies, but there were a couple I watched where they had like a musical performance or an act of some sort of play going on, and they would cut back and forth between that and whatever the action was. And I kept imagining that kind of situation.
So, when you got Angie back, was your guys' first thoughts too, I need to take her to the hot spring of only girls? I'm so fucking happy they did it. I'm so happy.
The guy told me to do that, so I'm like,
I thought as soon as I got her back, even before they told me, like, I'm going to the hot springs with nothing but girls of her, and it's gonna be glorious.
Oh, that reminds me. They actually have a hot spring event in Erin at that hot spring there if you take your romance choice as one of your partners and your team to the hot spring.
Really?
And it ends up being that apparently the rest of the group set you up and you're both in there alone, and then frickin' Millium and Roselia join you.
Fuck. Okay, for one, the drinking game was the drinking quest thing was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I liked that.
Oh, that was great. Oh, also, the whole bit with Olivert and Sherazard.
Yeah.
The proposal. Yeah. I would just like, you go! There's a meme I really want to make where, like,
so good.
I really want to find, like, a good meme template with three people arguing and a fourth person coming up, and then the cloud's part of Heavenly Light and showing, and then somebody shows there. I want to be like, Laura's better, Sarah's better, Fee's better. Then the fourth guy's like, guys, I think we all can agree on best boy. The cloud's part is just Olivert.
I don't know.
There is no replacement for best boy from Olivert except maybe Crow.
Green.
Green is okay. To be fair, Elliot is definitely the closest second. Like it's closely tied with Crow.
Also, us talking about best boy reminded me. I had a thought the other day. You remember how he kept calling useless the useless?
Who? Who's calling that?
Back when I was first playing Trails 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Brandon and I kept calling useless.
Yeah, because you were
In my defense, and I actually did realize this, and it actually is pretty true. When you take into account everything that useless is supposed to be for, every other character can do it better. Every single one.
Like what they bring to the table in a battle or personality?
What they bring into the table in battle, because useless is useless.
No one else can fucking do I'm gonna give everyone complete invulnerability with a fucking CP cost.
Actually, Fee and Altina, Millium.
His ice move?
Altina, Millium, Celine can all do stuff like that.
No.
If not
Do them
better
to
stuff.
themselves, but not to an entire group of people.
Yeah, they can. Battle points.
No, that's fucking BP. It's not up nearly as often as Eustace's thing.
He doesn't have anything.
His CP move, where he gives everyone invulnerability. That is such a good move. It is such a clutch thing to pull off. To be fair, though, there are moves from the first two games I was really sad not to see in the last two, like Reen's motivation. I always like that. Well, besides battle
Glory
points,
Fire became the Crimson Lotus.
Well, I'm just talking about his old CP move from the first two games. Yeah, but like BP is not available nearly as much as CP moves.
Yeah, my
plus I thought
pretty fine.
Yeah, plus I also think that it also gave a CP generation effect as well. I can't remember.
I think you're thinking of one of his spells.
No, I'm not thinking about. I'm not thinking of. I am not thinking of Invigorate.
No, not Heat Up. Not Invigorate either. Impassion.
I'm not thinking. Well,
yeah,
either way,
Impassion.
It was a good move to have, and I really liked it because I'd always start battle with it, and then I just go second form Gale, and I absolutely annihilate everything in one hit.
Domination Gem.
Well, I mean, in the first two games, when Gale was like a 30 CP cost. Yeah.
It sucks.
When I'm like, alright, time to use Gale. Why is it 80? They realize how fucking overpowered it is.
Gale now.
They realize how unbelievably overpowered Gale was. Because for one, it was very good at just delaying people, and it just did a really good amount of damage.
Speaking of, why in the absolute shit would they ever allow you to delay frickin' Ishmelga when they wouldn't let you do that with Osborn?
Because Osborn has an iron will.
But
that is my answer, and I feel like it fits absolutely perfect.
But Osborn is also kind of powered by Ishmelga in that fight.
I don't care. It's his will. He refuses to be slowed down.
And then Ishmelga, the version you fight, also is pretty much a Septarian of Steel in terms of power.
Yeah. You know
so
what?
Why would you be able to freaking
Because Ishmelga's will is fucking pathetic. That's why.
But it's so stupid. It's like the final boss, the final boss, the big bad of the entire series.
You know what? Watch someone do a
AT delay of death.
Watch someone do a no damage nightmare run of fucking Los Erebonius, and you'll see that all final bosses are super susceptible to that shit. To a hilarious degree.
Except Trails 3. Because the
final
boss was not ever AT delayed.
Well,
I had AT delay heavy builds on every single character whenever I fought.
I'd argue because they're basically gods.
Delayed.
I'll argue because they're basically gods.
Then why would frickin' Ishmelga get delayed?
Because like I said, Ishmelga's will is fucking pitiful.
You're literally contradicting your own.
No, I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke. You got godly will, and you got Ishmelga wannabe demigod little shit.
Who had the power of God?
You didn't have a will of a god, though. You did. I guess to be fair, it would. Well, yeah, no, it is true. But also, like I said, you didn't have a god's will. I digress. It's not important.
It was stupid.
Yeah. But speaking of Osborn, though, his super move.
You mean it's S-Craft or the...
Yeah, I mean, if you can skip it, but the first time I saw it, my jaw hit the ground.
I think in terms of duration, his special follow-up attack whenever
his S-Craft, basically.
No.
Where he decides to fucking nuke the world, basically, in darkness.
He pulls a Sephiroth.
Yeah, okay.
That shit is kind of long.
It was long, yes, but also... I partially don't care because after I saw it the first time, I can skip it whenever I wanted, but it was still fucking like of all the other S-Crafts we've seen in the game, that is definitely one of the highest scale. Did Ishmelga have one? I don't think he did.
Nope.
That's a little
not
sad.
That I ever saw because I kept canceling the shit out of him.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, like I've said before, I feel like the third and fourth game are definitely a hell of a lot easier than the first and second. By far.
Yeah, I've had more issues with 3 and 4 than I ever did 1 and 2.
Well, I would say this, I regretted my entire playthrough of 4 just for the fact that I didn't play on Nightmare. I know I played on Heroic, and I couldn't swap to Nightmare like I could in the third game. Chewie, I fucking blasted through that game.
That also might be on you for not taking things slower.
Well, I mean, I blasted through it as in there was nothing there. I never really hit a wall.
I never did either, but then suddenly freaking Osborn in his Divine Knight, hey, I'm just gonna start attacking you non-stop and not giving you any moment to do anything.
Besides, like, the final few Divine Knight battles, because I did not have the materials to get, like, any of the final quartzes for Valimar.
I actually had to go and farm to get the final quartz, the Omega X-Orbs. Yeah, to actually deal with Osborn and his bullshit.
I didn't bother. I still beat him with relative ease. The only one I had the truest issue with was which fight was it? Was it not? I don't think it was Arianrod. It was the last time you had.
Wasn't that hard?
It was the last one you had. No, it was Cedric.
Cedric was a bitch.
Well, like I said, I had like no master course at all, so I had to really, really work on it. Also, did anyone else have a fucking fangirl moment when you did Enlightened Domination? Green and Crow's Divine Knight combined move that they did in the second game to beat the Curse of Calamity. When I first played that, I'm like, oh my god, it's like, ah!
But Enlightened Domination was a finisher that he had in the third game.
No,
It was Enlightened Domination.
What was it called then?
Unity something domination.
Like it was. Look, I need to look this. I fucking need to look this up now. Even though I have no clue how I actually would look it up. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it kinda did. Kinda does. Cold Steel 4...
Damn it, I don't know how to look this up. If I'm going through a YouTube video. Deadly Domination, that's what it was.
Yeah. Unity
because it's Deadly Cross and Enlightened Domination combined.
Yeah. Enlightened Domination is just the thing that Ring does normally.
Yeah, that's Valmar's finishing move. God, every time that happened, I would go along with them. Enlightened Domination or Deadly Domination.
Brandon wants to say a thing.
Yes, go ahead. I mean, I'm expecting it with your history of the game now. So go for it. Dig that. I wish he talked more. I do wish he had a little more leeway.
I kind of wish he got his voice back.
Well, to be fair, it's more like his system got shorted out because of Ring going berserk.
Yeah, that was a pretty big shock to his system.
Yeah. No, Ishmelga. No, only Ishmelga was part of the curse.
No, Cuddy. They did specifically say that the curse was keeping Valmar from recovering.
Because
that he couldn't ever really recover. Yeah, it was the Steel Maiden's power that allowed him to get freed from it and recover properly.
Yeah, I feel like
but he was there the whole time.
I know. Yes, I was like, I was like, God. Yeah, the whole thing is like, okay, we already had one of them die. She's probably gonna die as well. They're like, oh, she's actually gonna decide she's gonna help us. Like, I don't like this is churning. I don't like this churning. Something's gonna happen.
Screw Rufus.
And then Rufus came up on him. As soon as Rufus came up, I'm like, I'll bounce your head on my wall!
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The point that got me, like, that, I really ever cried in games, but I was fucking bawling through many points in that game. Fucking point when she calls him dad, I'm just like,
yeah. Something I kind of wish was a thing in one of the final scenes when you see Osborn walk off after all the stuff that happens with the Divine Knights and True Ending, and then you see Rutger and Leanne show up and follow him. I kind of really wish Rena would have called out to Rutger and said, I'll take care of Fee. Just a little thing like that, because I chose Fee. And then if you chose Laura, he would say that to Leanne instead about Laura. I kind of wish that was a thing.
Partly, yeah. Alright. Rutger? Rutger? It's yeah, it's his nature. Like I said,
Well,
Leanne.
he was still getting paid throughout the war, but again, he was a mercenary, so
it was
he
more
goes where the money goes.
It was also more along the lines of his pride as a Jaeger.
Yeah. He is a mercenary. He lives by the mercenary code.
Well, like Leanne was the headstrong female version of Reen who thinks that she can handle everything on her own.
Yeah.
She is fucking Trials 2 with Reen and 3 Reen, I guess, in a sense.
I'd say.
Be fair, I stupid protagonist, stupid headstrong protagonist. Yes.
She's Reen without Reen's development.
Yes.
And she's been on her own for the majority
she
of
didn't
the time.
have. She chose isolation while Reen chose to walk with his friends.
Yeah.
That was the major difference between the two. He had his friends to help him grow and develop.
Alone, people were like, no, screw that, we're coming with.
Yeah.
There was never that kind of thing for Leanne.
Yeah, because she
Leanne
had this.
was
She had her
on her own.
Yeah, her death was the perfect escape.
Yeah, because when frickin' Dreikels was an old man laying in bed, wasting away and about to die, she was still a spry young woman in terms of her body and her mind and everything, because she was an immortal at that point. She lost all the people that were close to her.
She didn't want to implicate her. She didn't want to hurt her friend.
Yeah, she specifically said...
You know what? Reen would have been the exact same way if his friends.
Yeah, Reen would have been the same way.
If his friends weren't able to actually follow him like they did.
You can absolutely tell that Reen would have been the same. Mm-hmm. If Reen was in her footsteps, her boots, Reen would have been 100% the exact same.
Yep.
If they swapped places, they would be literally what the other person is in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally interchangeable.
It is your opinion.
They could have handled some things better, yes.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more into her mind of the reasoning instead of at the very fucking end.
Yeah. It would have been nicer if they sprinkled bits and pieces of it.
They gave a good reason at the very fucking end, but it would have been a lot more Well, they told the entire reason at the very end.
Yeah,
but like if they would have if they would have sprinkled bits and hints and pieces of it throughout before that and help it build it up a little bit, it'll probably been a lot more palatable and swallowable for a lot more people.
Yeah, it would have been infinitely better if they made it so that you gain more and more information throughout the past few games. Because you only ever see her briefly in the first game. She doesn't show up at all in the second game. Then you see her a couple times in the third and fourth. If they use the second and third game to kind of like sprinkle bits and pieces of her backstory build up what was going on and give people hints and let them see who she truly is instead of this Steel Maiden persona, Ouroboros Enforcer type of thing, then it would have been better.
I mean, I guess to be fair, they had sight of it because she was like this. She was such a noble, honorable woman that you realize
that's what we knew about her.
She's not she's not completely evil. That she's actually probably pretty good, and then that leads into why is she actually following Ouroboros? What are they about? Are they actually evil? Like it brings up a lot of fun, good questions to keep people bited over.
But they're questions not about her, but about Ouroboros.
Yeah, I feel like well, it's something to keep people engaged, to keep people going of the series. I feel like
big problem.
I feel like if the overall story had one less layer to it, they could have probably definitely gotten a little more depth of all the stuff. But since like everything was, I guess like the biggest problem with it is like the entirety of the story was a little too entwined with each other.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Anytime you had a question about Leanne, it wasn't Leanne herself. It was Ouroboros.
Well, it's just like anything. If you learn anything more about her, it would answer a hell of a lot more questions that, at the time, would have been way too early to get the answers to.
Not really. They could have easily figured a way to keep a lot of secrets. It's just the way they handled things. You gained more questions about Ouroboros and not about her herself. Anytime you gained a new question...
To be fair, we still don't know exactly what it is. Yeah, I am extremely curious as well. I know Brandon isn't because he's like...
Especially after
Brandon is like, I'm just going to stay in my Cold Steel bubble. Which is fine.
But I'm really curious, especially because of McBurn.
Okay, for one, no it's not. For two... a little bit, because I did tell you that you could also look into it, or I could help inform you and stuff to help you understand things better. But also, see, yes, they should have. Yes, both. It's mostly the game's fault for not giving a lot of people the tools necessary.
I was about to bring it up again that it's kind of the same kind of thing where I, someone who did look into it, still didn't really know much more about Ouroboros before what. Told.
Well, yeah,
because it was all very vague shit.
Yeah, to be fair, like this whole arc was not about Ouroboros. It was more about
because Ouroboros is the long-term thing.
Yeah, and like
which.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say 9.
Well, you have the 3 Sky games. You have the 2 Crossbow games, and then the 4 Trials games. Well, like,
yeah.
Like I said, it was that cameo. It's supposed to be this one big whole story. And yes, they could have handled it better. They could have given us some info, like how at the fucking maybe the main menu be like a rundown of like the Sky games, a rundown of the Crossbow games, just to give people an idea.
Very, very, very limitedly did in the game themselves. When
they gave you some exposition of like this thing happened. Yeah, like they gave you some exposition.
When the Azure showed up in 2, or in 3, they had the fortress attacked.
Hmm. To be fair, it never failed. No. Osborn just hijacked it.
And they specifically cleared the air that it didn't actually go specifically as planned, but it was going well enough that they were just continuing with it.
The whole thing was just the end goal was what would happen if the Saturnian of Steel was formed.
Yeah, they wanted the result, whatever the result was. They just wanted the result of it.
I'm gonna say that's Ouroboros in a nutshell.
Well, Maribel kind of did explain.
We still don't know.
Maribel did kind of explain that it didn't matter what outcome happened from the rivalries, that either way, it would succeed and their Phantasmal Blaze plan would be completed.
Yeah, and here comes the part I've been dreading to fucking discuss, cause Brandon.
McBurn and the reveal about the outside world?
Yes. What? McBurn? I feel like it's I feel like it was.
Brandon.
Well, his awesome personality, his
Cody,
awesomeness.
Cody, shut up for 2 seconds. Well, actually, a few minutes.
Okay, there you go. I was about to interrupt you 2 seconds.
Brandon, he did actually have more of a reason. It's just that it was such a vague thing, because he's been one of the biggest questions throughout the entire series. And then we come to this game, and we have what happens with him, and we're given this whole reveal that
he's the king of the devils.
That Zemuria is not the only place. That clearly we knew that Zemuria was not the only place. But to everybody who lived in Zemuria, there was nothing else. There is nothing else. They're all wondering what the shit is going on. And there's that whole thing about how apparently you just can't leave Zemuria at all. You go out to sea, you go out in the sky. Yeah. You go out to sea on a boat. You use a airship to fly out away from Zemuria. You are eventually just stopped by something. We have no idea what that something is, and they're going to eventually go on about what it is, obviously, but that's like setting up for a much, much longer thing within the story.
It's fucking... Brandon, it's Marvel Infinite, it's fucking Infinite Earths. It's multiple different timeline. It's
I would say it's more like less like more questions for the story that's currently going on, more questions for what this happens after.
It's building up for the next game.
It's kind of like with Final Fantasy XIV right now, where we know what's going on next. We know we're going to end the whole thing with Zodiac.
I mean, I won't argue fully with that.
But we do. But it is similar to Final Fantasy XIV because we know that we're going to be dealing with Zodiac and Hydaelyn next, but we have zero clue what's beyond that.
Suki, wrong game, Suki.
What?
Wrong game.
What do you mean?
You're in Warzone.
I know. I'm checking things out.
Zimba.
I know. Man. Hold on.
No. Alright,
but,
fine.
Final Fantasy XIV, again, we've not gotten any hints of what happens after Zodiac and Hydaelyn yet. We only know that Zodiac and Hydaelyn are the next big thing that we deal with, and that we're going to deal with it in the next expansion.
See, I have a...
Trails of Cold Steel 4, we got the hint that there's something beyond everything that's going on right now, and that we know for a fact that we still have to deal with Ouroboros and whatever they're planning.
It's very similar to how the
Hydaelyn and Zodiac in Cold Steel, while what McBurn revealed is what's happening next.
See, I'd rather compare it to it's how the MCU set up everything. How they always, like, throughout their movies, they've always set up a little bit of things that would go into their other movies and shit. They'd set things up. This is just setting up for future games. Which is yay, but also, fucking tell me what Ouroboros is already, damn it.
Well, we know what Ouroboros is, we just don't know what they're up to.
Well, that's what I mean. I want more info about them. There was a very distinct lack of information about them the past 2 games, and I would have liked more.
Though we did actually learn quite a bit more per game. It's just that quite a bit more is vastly overshadowed by what we still don't know. We learned a lot of information from the past few games, but there's still significantly more that is in the shadows. It's that kind of a thing.
Yeah. So, Brand, how much of your sentiment does your sister share?
Yeah,
to be fair, there's a lot of these things I feel like are... Yeah. Well. Yeah, I feel like she was kind of in too deep at that point, but also, I feel like a lot of my understanding of these things is I've read so I've read and experienced so many different kind of stories that I feel like I don't know, I feel like I feel like I can just relate way much easier than most people. They accept things. Well,
Honestly,
I'd argue, because it's like you said, she's someone that knows right from wrong, and she knows she's not been doing the right things the entire time. Once she's finally being, all that tension is just snaps and it's gone, and she finally comes to the full realization, of course she wouldn't want to live herself with it.
Honestly, I kind of do see Claire doing that kind of thing, especially with how conflicted she was throughout the entire experience. With her losing and not being able to be like, yeah, I'm validated in what I'm doing after everything that she's done and all the times she's doubted herself.
I feel like she probably thought it was her duty. I feel like she probably thought it was her duty to die at that point.
Like Lecter did, because Lecter obviously was just going along with that because, oh, we're supposed to. Yeah, but with both of them going to do it, you can easily get the idea that they're supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's their sense of duty.
Yeah, cool.
It's her sense of
Claire
duty.
You would expect to be better, yes, but at the same time, both of them were both Iron Blood Knights or whatever. You would think that that would be their plan. That would be the plan that was set up by Osborn. So, Lecter's just doing it to follow orders. Claire, she had a lot of shit on her mind throughout the entire game.
I feel like it's also
she really regretted a lot of the stuff she did. So all that weighing down on her at once the curse was gone completely, after being powered up by it, everything just... Knowing that was what she was supposed to do, she would totally try and follow through with that.
I feel like the biggest thing of all, they did it for a sense of as like atonement for what they did.
Yeah,
a life for a life. She from her actions, there was a lot of loss of life, so she felt like her life. A life for a life.
Yeah, and we know
it's a form of her kindness, but also kind of her, in a sense, her naivety and stuff.
Yeah, I don't get what you're talking about.
It's not.
Cody.
By kindness I mean. As a show of, it's her kindness, how kind and gentle.
Yeah, no, Cody,
no, she's not.
You're not making any
this
sense.
thing is not her being kind to the people. It's a manifestation of her kind heart. She's like, oh my god, look at what I've done. And she probably couldn't even live. She probably wouldn't even be able to live with herself through it.
Just no.
I can't. I'm not gonna.
Idiot! I'm on your side.
It's the fact that I've seen this type of thing happen multiple times is the reason why I can wrap my head around this.
Cody, the problem is you're trying to say kindness. What you mean is that it's what she thought would be her method of repenting.
Redemption.
That's what you meant. Not redemption.
It's
repentance.
Yeah, it's. She, like, okay.
That's the word you want to use.
Claire is a very at base is a very kind person.
So she would not have wanted to do all the things that she did.
No,
under
but since she
command.
did, she thinks the only thing I could do to possibly atone for this is with my life.
Yes.
Because she, to be fair, that the whole
thing, to be honest.
To be fair, through the fourth game, the constant struggle. Motherfucker, I try my best to. You know how bad I'm gonna explain this. I'm trying my damnest.
It honestly is a Claire thing, though.
It
because
is!
of how against herself she is.
I have seen it multiple times. Brandon, so as someone who's only watched fucking slice of life shit, don't talk to me about this. No, it's because you have not. It's because you have not experienced this kind of thing happening nearly as much as me and Suki. We understand it. No, it's a common trope kind of thing. The very kind character who's forced to do bad stuff usually tries to end their own life.
Yeah.
No, it's
No, Cuddy. The whole thing with Claire, she's the kind of person where she wants to do good, and when she's forced to do so much evil, she would either, one, look for help in recovering and repenting, two, turn herself in like Rufus did, or three, try to kill herself. That's what
like
characters usually do when they're that kind of a...
Yeah, and I feel like the biggest difference between her and Rufus is,
Rufus
resolve
was
and will, I guess?
Yeah, resolved. Rufus was a lot more resolved. Claire's always been a mess.
Yeah, Claire, especially the fourth game, she dived into being an even deeper mess. Just with the death of Milliam and just the whole back and forth of who do I follow, should I or shouldn't I kind of thing.
Claire was
No, that's one death compared to how many people died and will die in the war they started.
You're gonna want to stop right now, because Milliam is the person she is closest to.
Yeah, but also you gotta realize, like,
she would care significantly more about Milliam than hundreds of lives.
But like I said,
if she could, she would save Milliam over a city.
But like I said, she is such a kind person. Of course, all the deaths that her actions caused and will cause will definitely weigh on her.
Yes, but
and being in such a broken and honestly not a complete state of mind, of course she would try to kill herself because she wouldn't have the rationality to think about it.
The thing Brendan brought up, though, was why she would want to kill herself if she learned that Milliam was back and that there was possibly a way to bring her back. But to that point, that was way before they ever found out there was ever a chance to bring her back. For all anyone knew at the point that they fought Claire was that at the end of all the rivalries and after everything was said and gone, that Crow and Milliam would fade away. That they would not exist anymore.
Yeah, I guess at that point
that's all anyone knew at that time. Which is why, after she saw that there was still Milliam there after what the Divine Knights did to preserve her, that she decided to keep going, keep working.
But after
she found her resolve after all of that.
Yeah, I mean after Rena the gang verbally slapped her broken ass But Brandon, she may have revealed herself.
The spirit from the sword.
Yeah, she was a spirit from the sword, but the fact
they
didn't know
any idea that they could be brought back.
Yeah, they. No, because this entire
the whole time everyone knows that Crow's gonna fade away.
Yeah,
that Milliam is just the sword.
Yeah,
that eventually the Divine Knights will disappear.
Yeah, the whole thing going at the end. The whole thing going at the end was like, Crow, Milliam are like, even though we're gonna end this, even though we know that we will not survive the end of this. We know what's this whole thing
throughout the entire game that they shouldn't hold on to Crow
any
and
hope
going in
of
that hard because
bringing
they
back.
knew that eventually they would have to go, they would have to leave, that they wouldn't be able to stay forever. They kept saying that again and again and again, and no one knew.
Capturing the objective.
Securing Alpha. We're pulling ahead. Securing Bravo.
Like I said,
She felt she didn't deserve it.
yeah. Also, you gotta realize what her state of mind at that point.
Yeah, again, she had all the weight of everything that she did, everything that she didn't want to do but had to do.
Yeah, she
on
was.
her
I mean,
mind at
she
that
was
time.
100% not in the right state of mind
No.
through most of the fourth game, especially at the very end there. There's no way she could be
It's
rational
like
at
in a
all.
lot of movies, there are a lot of situations where people do really stupid stuff for what seems like no reason whatsoever. It's their bad state of mind in a moment of stress.
Well,
Even people who
it's-
are smarter than Claire have had that kind of a thing in movies and TV shows.
Yeah, they may be smart, but like their mind, if your mind is shaken up so much, it doesn't matter how smart you are if you can't bring a coherent thought to your head.
Yeah.
I know or not, and it honestly pisses me off because I feel like I'm having conversations with people about plot points and other stories. Brandon, there's two people saying the same thing. I think it's the other way around this time. It also doesn't mean it's right either.
No, it isn't the bad answer, it's just there's a lot of things you
Aren't
don't
taking
seem
into
to be
account.
entirely taking, not entirely. You are taking them into account, just not entirely.
It's
Losing Alpha.
That's just you, then, that you don't think she was that far gone. We think she was.
We lost A.
That's the difference.
Taking C.
I mean, the whole
Yeah, she
scene when
did.
they were rescuing, when they were rescuing Elise when she broke down.
She broke down when Milliam got killed and turned into the sword in the end of the third game. She broke down when she first...
And
She
also,
broke down when she first met everyone in the fourth game. She broke down in the prologue when people brought up Milliam and everything.
Yeah, like, and when she
in
broke
the,
down and then seemed to
in
have
the
gained
deal
that
front
newfound
sector.
resolve, I honestly feel like
And
that was
she-
it was a very fragile, easily
and-
broken resolve.
And in the Michelin Wonderland, if you gave her the special gift item you were able to give her a few days, day or two before, and you actually met with her in the Michelin Wonderland event, because you didn't do that, she breaks down again and says to Reem to either kill her or get killed, because she's thinking she can take him in.
Kill or be
kill
killed.
him.
There is
And
no
she
way
wants-
back.
And she specifically confronted Rain in the wetlands, telling him that if he didn't kill her, that she would either kill him or capture him. And Rain said, yeah, no, screw that. And he drops his sword in front of her, and Milliam shows up as like the spectral ghost thing. After talking a little bit, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna give it everything I have tomorrow.
Even though I
fragment of her resolve back, but it wasn't all of them.
yeah, I honestly feel like she wasn't telling that to Reen, she was telling that to herself. To psych herself up, or, in my opinion, lie to herself.
Both. It was both.
I feel like a lot of these things is like, I've always asked myself, Claire, who are you trying to convince? Them or you?
It's definitely both.
I just feel like it's mostly her.
Oh, new
But,
machete.
Hostile spy plane
in all honesty,
ahead.
in honesty, yeah, I'm actually getting lightheaded. I'm trying to think about this.
Losing Bravo.
I mean, I understand your points. I do.
I do too. I feel like it's I feel like I've had more.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had more life experience in terms of like of all these
Brandon
different.
Mulder?
No. Let me
Brandon
finish
Mulder?
my fucking. Let me finish my fucking thing before you be like, I'm older, but you have been alive longer. Bullshit. By that I mean I have experienced many more different kinds of stories than you. I feel I mean,
Clean up crews and ensure there are no survivors.
considering you've read most of your anime are slice of life.
Frenzy. God.
Well, I feel like I may have read a more, I guess, variety. I don't know.
Okay, that's a bit of a weird new upgrade.
It's my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I
You're
feel
being
I
pretty
have
there,
I have
but
experienced many kinds of characters, and I
You
feel
are
like
being
I
a
can
little
accept
shitty.
and I can accept more things. I think because I've
You are being a
read
little
more.
shitty, to be honest, Cody.
But
Exactly.
I have experienced I've just the amount of characters I've
Cody.
experienced. I've just learned to accept. I've learned to accept things and analyze things differently.
Cody, you can easily give that excuse of, oh, I've seen a lot more stuff, I've read a lot more stuff, I can understand these characters.
Well, I can understand.
I
And,
can give the
what's the
excuse
word?
that I've had a lot of diverse experiences in terms of stories already myself, and that I have a much more logical mind, so I can work things out.
I just
But
think
I'm not shoving that down other people's throats. Like
I just
you
feel.
are.
Well, to be fair, I mean, also, I agree. That's one of my less than stellar points about myself. But I don't know, I feel like this is the way my mind is. I can. What's the word I'm looking for? Not understand, not relate, accept. Maybe I can accept a lot of these things easier.
Mm,
And for me, I could find a reason of why I can accept them. Ugh,
yeah.
I know. Blame my stubborn personality. Blame my stubborn personality.
Stubborn you in general.
Well, like I said, my stubborn personality. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's partly my stubborn personality and mostly my love for the series, and I just want people to understand why it is that way and also appreciate it more.
I mean, in the long run, I also don't like how she tried to kill herself, but at the same time,
Like, yeah, I mean,
can
like,
see reasons why.
I like, don't Clark, don't fucking do it, but all part of my head is like, I can actually completely understand why she would go with that. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but I understand.
I'm definitely more of an in-between when I really think about it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
it's
do
a half-half.
agree with a lot of what Brandon is saying, but I also know that there's some stuff that points towards.
Yeah, and I
there
guess it's like
being things that hint towards it.
yeah, I don't. It's like I don't agree with it, but it's okay. To be like, it's Brandon. I'm 100% on board with you by all this. It's just the way I'm processing it is different, I guess.
Tombstone soda.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, like, I completely understand your whole argument of, like, Oliver, but, like, I'm just fucking happy he's alive.
Sit your ass down.
Yeah. Also, Tombstone soda.
It's weird.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to get any of these.
No. No, also there's a new activate ability as well, which is basically taunt.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's
Which is-
weird.
If you do it with a melee build, because the 5th level
they
melee.
actually made specials their own thing now?
What do you mean?
Losing Bravo.
Oh,
Specials
right.
under weapon classes.
Yeah, that's right. Also, the 5th level melee gives you a little health back on kills, so having that with the taunt thing it would actually be a really fun combo.
Are there crossbows in the game? Like, actually a thing?
Not yet, but I assume that they're gonna add one based off of the trailer, the video that we saw.
I would expect so.
Eventually.
Hostile gas Molotov.
Also, we can't work on the Ronin skin.
We were never able to.
Well,
No one
people were
was.
getting progress.
No one was. I looked of all
No,
the Reddits I
people
looked
were
through.
getting progress. People were unlocking it. It's just a lot of people weren't.
Of all the Reddits I was looking through, no one was actually getting any progress. It was just bugged.
What was the?
Which makes me relive all the time I wasted trying to get this shit, some of that shit done.
Damn it! I can't remember it right now. There was something that I just remembered that was in the game.
Like how I have theoretically unlocked the Wakizashi 4 times now, but I've yet to actually use it.
I can't remember what I was
Hostile spy
thinking of.
planes detected. Securing A.
This is just the whole discussion. This whole discussion is kind of reaffirming something I always been thinking about in the back of my mind.
Careful.
Charlie secure.
That
We lost Bravo.
discussing Trials 4. Because, like, I mean, it's not like I'm not completely oblivious to the flaws. I feel like the pacing could have been done. The pacing of the 4th game could have been handled better. And like that, and I feel like that there's definitely a lot of things that would bring up a lot more arguments and a lot more gushing.
But,
Yeah, I felt like my biggest issue with 4 was rescuing everyone. I feel like I wish they would have they could have sped that up a little bit.
Yeah, the first chapter was way too long.
Alright, that's the
That
5th time I
first
unlocked the
chapter was way too
Wakizashi.
long.
Can I please fucking have it?
But it's not what I was thinking of, but I did just think about it. A point to the area nerd thing. We mentioned how she never went to Rose. You would think that with how powerful Rose was in terms of being a witch and the whole clairvoyance thing that witches can do, that she would have had some idea what was going on at some point or another.
Wasn't most of the clairvoyance thing because of that Moonwell thing?
But she also had a smaller version back at her atelier that she could still look into other people with.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about clairvoyance is, and like through a bunch of media is, and also just like predicting futures and stuff, the future is never set in stone. Things are different.
Well, no, I'm not talking about predicting the future.
And
I guess I might have used
is,
the wrong word because in D&D it's called divinity, or divination, I mean. Where
yeah.
she can look in on someone else. She can scry on someone else. You would think that at some point Rose would have been, oh, I wonder how Leanne's doing. I'm going to check in on her and seeing something that was off.
I honestly think the
realize
Grandmaster
something
had a
about
hand in
her
that.
Changed.
I feel like the Grandmaster may have had a hand in that.
Except all the Anguis and Enforcers are pretty much given free reign and not controlled by the Grandmaster.
No, what I mean is the Grandmaster may have had a way to prevent them from being looked into. To make it so that their actions and their plans can be kept in the utmost secrecy.
Then how would Rose have known that she was alive at any point?
Dreikel's told her?
We're pulling ahead.
Yeah, sure, Dreikel's could have told her, but she wouldn't know if she ever died or anything. There was 200 years before frickin' Osborn was there, and she found Osborn and realized that he was the reincarnation of Dreikel's. That's 200 whole years that she could have died. Rose could have gotten worried about her at some point or another, tried to check up on her. If she couldn't get to her,
To be
she
fair,
would
they-
think, oh, something's wrong.
To be fair, they did meet up every once in a while. Like in 3, they met up for a brief moment.
extremely brief, and
Yeah.
that even proves more against the idea that the Grandmaster had any way to cancel out her scrying. Because how would she have known where she was otherwise?
To be fair, I actually kind of forgot the whole big point of this. I can't remember what
Well,
the point you're making.
Brandon kept saying that he doesn't like Leanne's reasoning, and that she could have easily just gone to Rose. I'm saying, why couldn't Rose have ever clued in that something was off, that something was going on? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm bringing to the table. I just wanted to do that. I'm not trying to reopen that argument. I'm just saying they're both kind of at fault.
I could probably think of a way to explain it, but after
But
the
you're
last
gonna have
argument,
to dig pretty deep to try and figure that out.
it depends on perspective.
You would have to dig pretty deep to try and find a reason. Because there's been nothing saying that Rose couldn't check in on Leanne, Rose couldn't meet with Leanne. Nothing saying that.
Well, like I said, I could probably explain it. I am already way too exhausted from the last thing to really try. And frankly, I don't want to put in the effort. I don't want to go into another whole thing.
Still, just both of them
I can see this. I can definitely probably find a way to do it, but I just don't want to. Because A, I feel like no matter what I say, no one's gonna actually accept it.
And I'm just saying that they're both at fault.
I would definitely
but
agree that
they
they both are definitely at fault. And that if anything, that was gonna be part of my explanation. But like I said, I don't want to get into it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't want to either. I was just bringing that up.
I like a good old debate, but we can't. Something I've learned of us: we can't debate. We can only argue.
I mean, we've debated on a few things.
No, most of the things have always turned into an argument of who was right and who was wrong. Not, here's my insight, what is your insight? Yeah, because we're both stubborn assholes. No, Suki, you're as stubborn as me. We are all stubborn bastards. There is no ifs, ands, ors, or buts about it. We are all stubborn ass bastards. Don't look me. Don't look at me. I just want to lock my fucking lock is out of shape. I haven't locked it
probably not gonna happen.
I've locked it 4 times.
As in, you're probably not gonna get it right now.
I haven't locked it 4 fucking times.
Who is this Viper?
Someone who I guess works with Stitch.
I can't even remember what it was that I thought of earlier.
I don't know. I've had that problem all the time.
Pretty sure it was something about. I want to say.
Mission goals are in sight. Take the win.
No.
Fuck
Well,
you, Adler!
actually-
Die!
Sit your ass
It
down.
is actually a pretty cool revelation that Rose is essentially a reincarnation of the.
She's the
90s
successor.
Fire. Which she specifically did say that she is kind of the reincarnation because she does take the power and
created
the energy and soul from the prior one.
Yeah, she was created by the prior one to succeed them, so.
But she does also take in stuff from them.
Yeah, and she was setting Celine and Grianos to be the next one.
Yeah. Well, Celine specifically.
Well, it was kind of a situation of, I have 2 candidates. Let's see who's actually going to be it.
No, Cody. She specifically says
Area pacified.
that she was having Celine be the.
Well, yeah, at that point, yes, because Grianos was.
Never any mention of Grianos being a possible.
She said no. There's a reason why she looks like a fucking catbird.
Yeah, she made Grianos and Celine from herself.
Yeah, as
A
possible
bird and a
candidates.
cat, but
As
she always intended for Celine to be the successor, is what she said. I specifically just played it the other day. I remember it.
Yeah, you have a habit of. We both have habits of misinterpreting and just. I don't know, I'm misremembering shit. So I'm gonna end it
I
there.
literally spent the past.
I'm
4
ending it there,
days going through
Suki!
it.
I don't want to go into the argument. I'm already, like, extremely exhausted from the last one.
Yeah, I kind of like Rose more than Leanne, I gotta admit.
Yeah. Especially when Emma starts to, yeah, that's the right word. I was gonna say
Yeah,
chastise, but I
yeah.
couldn't think of the right. I didn't think that was exactly the right word.
Scold is definitely the better word.
Yeah, where she's the grandmother, but she gets treated like the basically like the daughter getting scolded by the parent.
I actually. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
she would. She
definitely.
would. I think she would still 100% still be scolded by Emma, but it wouldn't be
To a
nearly as
degree, but it
adorable.
wouldn't be nearly as much,
It wouldn't be nearly as adorable.
and it wouldn't be nearly as often
Mm-hmm.
if she was in her other form all the time. But I actually really like how I don't think you guys did this because I haven't heard either of you say anything about it. But in that final Aaron bath scene that I had, where I had Fee with me, and it was the special romance moment. She actually showed up with Milliam, and Milliam called her Granny, and she immediately said that that was the last time she would ever let Milliam call her Granny. Just annoyed as all hell.
Well, yeah, someone who looks that young would never like to be called old.
But that was just a really good moment.
There's a moment that during the point, I'm gonna call it the halfway point on the Pentagrul, where all the characters all got together. Where you have, it was after, like, when you talk of everyone, and you have Estelle and all the girls together, and they're, like, teasing her about Joshua.
Yeah.
And she's getting
Oh,
embarrassed. I'm just like, ah. I love it.
It was cute. And then everybody teasing Lloyd in Michelin Wonderland before rain.
I like how like fucking Lloyd, the just as dense anime protagonist as fucking Reen, is saying, God, I know I'm bad. I know I am dense and bad of women, but this guy, I'm like, you don't fucking get to say that, Lloyd.
Yeah, I like that moment.
But I also was like, God, if even Lloyd is saying it, Reen, you have a problem.
Yeah. That was a good moment, though.
Yeah. I do wish I had a little bit more moments between all three protagonists, but it was still really,
Yeah.
it was still great to watch.
Would have been nice to have more.
I really wish Reen's master actually showed up in fucking person.
Probably the next game.
Also, I'm starting to wonder the whole thing with the Dragon Vein thing, if that was actually unrelated to the curse.
Hostiles pipeline
What
established
do you mean?
overhead.
Well, when Reen guys let us know, this master in the third game saying he went to go investigate the dragon lions because they seem to be withering or something like that. Dragon Vein, Spirit Vein, same thing.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I think about a bunch of different things because they're practically the same thing. They've been called one or the other. But I'm wondering if it has anything to do with that revelation that Suki just saw. The reload the save thing fucking twice to see the everything of fucking cutscene in the game bullshit. With the Ouroboros meeting. About 3 years until the world comes to an end.
Well, no, they said 3 years until their plan comes to an end.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Yeah, because there's something about the world coming to an end as well. So I'm wondering if the dragon veins or the spirit veins withering is like the life energy of the planet going down.
Well, about that, in relation to what McBurn
Multiple
revealed,
enemy spy plane contacts.
part of me is thinking that maybe the spirit veins are what's keeping people from leaving Zemuria.
I feel it's just like the life essence of the planet itself, or like, or their plane, or whatever.
But then why would they
describe it.
stop at a certain point in the ocean beyond Zemuria?
I feel like it's like
Because if those
This
are a
place is-
planet-wide thing, Zemuria is only one
Spy plane
place.
inbound.
I mean, it's something similar I've seen with like the Korean novels I read, where like you have a world, but it's imagine a bubble, and there's a world, and then outside of that is the void, but then there's another bubble of a different world. Like it isn't. They don't have to be like legit like spherical worlds. It's more of like a plane of existence, a landmass in a bubble kind of thing.
It doesn't seem like that's what they were getting.
Well, that's how I interpreted it.
And especially when, in the normal ending, they talk about breaking through the atmosphere. They know there's an atmosphere. They know there's space beyond it.
Yeah,
And they
it's
can clearly go to space to some degree or another.
well. I mean, to be fair, the stratosphere isn't full space.
But
It's still technically
them
within
knowing
the
that
range
that's there
of.
and being able to know for a fact that they can break through the atmosphere, you would
Yeah.
think that they would be able to just go up and over whatever the wall is.
Yeah, and I guess
And if it was a bubble, then they wouldn't be able to go through the atmosphere.
well, I said
Green would have
imagine it
blown
like a
up
bubble.
and smacked into the bubble and just blown up.
Okay, how about this? Imagine like the different like planets in like Mario Galaxy. If like when you're on the menu going to the planet, of how they are pictured, how they're showed. It's like that.
I know
They're-
that.
It's. I think it's actually very similar to how that is.
It doesn't feel like
It's just. It feels like how it's described in like like those the novels I read. Because like when I say void, it's just me not fully coming to terms that it actually is space, and there are stars and different planets, and it just it's a weird kind of. It's still a weird concept that I'm still fully not able to wrap my head around, even though it's very simple. It's like I'm kind of living in denial of those kind of things in a sense.
Spetsnaz.ru. You have the party's gratitude.
But
Area secure.
one of my favorite little moments is like after the battle with McBurn at the very end, he's like, so he just becomes super chill, and he's like, so I'm sorry, I literally was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I actually fucking love that. I just like the whole thing of this falling with my reaction. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I liked it.
I was like, McBurn, the guy who's always wants someone to find someone to light his fire, becomes like complete opposite of McBurn. He's now McChill. I'm like, hold on, wait, what?
Yeah, because we lit the fire. We got him what he needed.
I know, but it's just like his personality and stuff, and I finally unlocked the Wakazashi! It's been oh, fuck my life.
What was the other thing?
So, Brandon, what are you doing in Final Fantasy? Which I just need to do that. Anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna wrap this up. Well,
about the
I'm still discussing it, but I feel like there's. To be fair, this whole recording thing was kind of pointless. Because 80% of it's just arguing.
Well, I mean, people like arguing.
Yeah. Oh, Suki, you have 4 people, not just us 2.
Yeah.
Why not just us 2?
I've never done this map.
Well, I've done it once, and just so we can just go to private and explore it ourselves.
But,
Because I already know kind of how to get the wonder weapon.
and I haven't seen any way to do private right now.
It's literally right second from bottom.
Kinda
Also,
down. But,
also we match.
yeah, I know. That's kind of why I got the skin, aside from it being just awesome.
I don't
But,
disagree.
when I was in Michelin Wonderland, I was kind of trying to... I was wanting to get Duvalie maxed out, but she was 2 hearts down out of... 2 stars down out of the 5, so I couldn't get her up high enough with the limited tickets, and Elisa was 1 heart down, so I could have gotten her up, but it just said screw it, and I think I did Toa at that point?
I can't remember who
It
I
kind of
did.
bothers me that you can't romance Toa, Muse, or... No, because there were no hearts there. Or Sarah.
It's probably because you didn't, you probably didn't do the 2 hearts before. There are 2 heart ones before that.
No.
Yeah, I saw for Sarah's as well.
I never saw the hearts on either of them. On either of them, there were never any hearts at any point in the game.
Did you do their 2 heart ones in the before Michelin?
Cody, I'm telling you, there were never hearts. It was just stars.
You have to do it right away, otherwise you will miss it.
Cody, you little shit, listen to what I'm saying. There were never hearts. As in, I couldn't do.
So
bonding
when you
events.
had, did you do every single one of Sarah's bonding events when they were available?
I did the majority of Toa's, and there were never hearts.
Well,
at any point.
you miss, like, something I found is
And I never saw a Sarah one.
if you miss one of their heart level bonding events, like early on, you'll lose out completely the entire time.
I know that, you little shit.
Yeah.
There were never any to begin with, is what I'm saying.
Well, there was for me and Brandon, so you must have missed it. Let's pause for a second, so I get a chance to shut this down.